Hi. So I wanted to make another video, because these are kind of fun to make, demoing another thing in Wallpaper Engine. That's going to be the particle system. So this is my Moira Halloween wallpaper, and right now it's got a moon, that if I go to the moon, it's set up in an invisible box, that it scrolls within that box, and if I crank up the speed you can see. It scrolls across the horizon, not the horizon, the sky. And that's great, it did what I wanted to do when I set it up, but it's not doing exactly what I wanted to do. What I wanted to do is actually, instead of going in a straight line, I wanted to rise from above the mountains and then shoot down behind the castle. Now you can't do that on an image layer, or at least I don't know how to do it on an image layer. So in order to do that, I have to use a particle system, and I figured I could just do that quickly, well, fairly quickly, and go over kind of how I would set up a single image particle system. So I'm just going to use a normal particle, so add preset, particle system, basic particle, and I'm going to remove all of the things. Now I kind of somewhat know what I'm doing in here, so if you don't know what you're doing, you can use presets with the built-in things and just tweak them and play with them. But what I want is a single particle, so I'm going to change the blending to translucent. Additive means it's bright, it'll look glowy. Translucent means it'll be opaque, but any part that's transparent will be see-through. So I'll change it to translucent, and I will import my moon particle, which I already have somewhere, but I don't see it, so I'll import it again. These are just different variations I made through experimenting, and this is my moon particle. So it's going to spawn nothing, because I have spawning disabled, so I need an emitter. Sphere or box, they both essentially do the same thing, they're slightly different. I'm going to choose sphere. Sphere makes it so the particle can spawn anywhere within a radius of x. So I'm going to make it spawn at 0. I want one of them. The system, I want a single particle. I also need to spawn a sprite, which is an image. And then to make it actually show up, you need a lifetime and a size. So I want it to last for, we'll say, 3. Doesn't matter, I don't know if it's seconds, it's 3 units. And a size. We'll give it a size of 1,000. So now we have a particle. If I select, my particle spawns right here. Oh. I don't know what this is. I made a boo-boo. Is it this? Yeah, okay. I just duplicated the layer. So, for testing purposes, I'm going to increase the lifetime by a bunch so it stays there. I'm also going to increase the size a little bit so it matches my other moon. It's pretty close. Tone it down just a smidge. So now we have a particle. Now we need it to move. In order to get it to move, we're going to add a velocity random. Velocity random means when the particle spawns, it's going to have this directional movement. So this is x, x, y, y, min, max. So we want it to move top right. So we're going to go positive, I don't know, 200 for all of them. So it's going to be a positive movement this direction. It's not moving. Why? Because you need to give it a movement. Any particle that has movement has to have the movement property. Now it will move. The other thing the movement property does is it applies a constant force on the particle. So the velocity random will just constantly shoot it. It will spawn with this velocity going 200, 200 in whatever direction you set it, and then the movement applies after that. So we want like a parabola, so we want it to go in an arc going down. So I'm going to give it a negative x, y, z. I'm going to give it a negative y movement of 100. I don't know. So now it's going to spawn and shoot down. And we'll see where this goes. Okay, well, it's a little bit small, so we're going to tone down the movement. Go to 50. And just for the sake of testing, I'm going to speed up the playback. Oops. Oh, and I gave it a really long lifetime, didn't I? Let's give it a medium lifetime. Okay, Okay, it's working. Not quite there yet. So it has to go further to the right. So it's velocity random. I'm going to give it a higher x value. Say 300. Now it shoots all the way across my image. Just ever so slightly. I want it to end like here. So I'm going to give it a lifetime of 8 point something. Let's say 8.4, just a smidge longer. Now it shoots across my sky. I'm going to rotate it so it kind of matches the moon that's already there and spawn behind the mountain. So now it should spawn exactly where I want it to. No, a little too far. Now for I also want to change, so it's not always exactly the same. Right now it's always exactly the same going horizontally, but I can change that with the sphere random. So I'm going to make it so its x spawn is always the same, so it's 0. This is hard to explain. It's a multiplication of how far. If I set this to 10 and this is 1, it'll spawn at a 10 going vertically, and this is a 0, so it'll spawn at 0 going vertically, or horizontally. It's kind of hard to explain. So I'm going to give it 100, and if I bump up the count so you can see more of them, it gives it a between 0 and 10 random difference in the vertical alignment. So now, instead of always being the same path, it will spawn a moon with a random path. So now I can put it back to 1. Get it to go again, and then crank down the playback rate. 1 is normal. It's still too slow, or too fast, because this moon is actually way too fast. I want it to go at this speed, 0.2 something. I can't remember where I had it before. It was way lower than that. Something like this, 0.08. So I need to slow this moon down. I'll put it here with this one, and I'll match its parallax settings so it moves at the same rate, minus 0.41. So now it moves with the mouse at the same rate. I'm going to move it down a smidge, or over a smidge, and then slow down its playback rate. So I want to match approximately the speed of this moon. Oh, point. Gotta go into a fraction. We'll say 0.4. That's pretty close going by eye. So I think this does exactly what I want it to do. If I zoom into my wallpaper, actually, so it's 0.04. I'll speed it back up just for testing. But now, a moon, just like before, will spawn on my horizon, shoot up in an arc, and then set behind the castle. So instead of going in a straight line across the sky, it now kind of comes and goes. And it also has a random vertical spawn alignment, which I'm actually going to crank up just a little higher. Say 150. So it won't always be in the same spot, and it'll go up and down. So it's pretty basic. That's all I wanted to do. Give a little demo of the particle system and what you can do with it.